Hello guys, what's up? InkSlasher44 here, and today we are playing some Black Ops 1, and that is just because I don't have any gameplays in Black Ops 2 because I haven't played it in forever. But that's not important because, like normal, we are not talking about the gameplay. Today we're going to be talking about something pretty controversial lately. We're going to be talking about gun laws. For a few reasons, because I have some specific views on it, I think others have specific views on it, and I think mine contradict most of Americans' views on it. So I'd like to quickly talk about it, starting with how gun laws work in the States, then going into how gun laws work in Canada, and then talking about the Second Amendment, and so on. So, starting off in the States. So, gun laws in the States depend a lot on individual laws based on which state you're in. Now, we're not going to go into every state looking at their different gun laws, blah, 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 but I will quickly talk about it. It is more strict in places like New York than places like Texas, simply because of the type of the amount of people that are there, and also the type of lifestyles people live. For example, someone living in New York is going to live a type of lifestyle where there's probably going to be a lot of people in life surrounded by a lot of people all the time, where someone in Texas is not most likely, but often going to be like a farmer, someone working on a farm, not surrounded by a lot of people, someone that's going to be more threatened by something like a wolf. Now, this comes into play when looking at what guns are going to be used for, but we'll get into that in a minute. So that's kind of how gun laws work in the States. Now, in Canada, guns are very, very strictly controlled. Now, it is regulated by individual provinces, but generally gun laws are something done by the federal legal system in Canada. So if we look at, I live in Ontario, so if we look at Ontario, if someone wants to get a gun, they first of all have to get 2 licenses, or go through 2 courses. They have to, my friend just actually did this, he had to get his hunting license, but that's for hunting, and then he has to get his firearms license, and then to get a pistol, for example, he needs to take a separate course just for a pistol. His first one, I believe, only worked for shotguns, and then to get something like an assault rifle or sniper, you need to get another license on top of that. So as you can tell, licenses are really strict. They have to go through a criminal background check and all that stuff. Where in the States, sometimes in some states it's even possible to go into Walmart and buy a gun without a criminal background check. A lot of states do need a criminal background check, some don't though. So that's just basically the 2 differences between the Canadian and American gun laws. So, next we're going to look at the Second Amendment, and if you live in the States, of course you're going to know what this is, but quickly we'll go over it just for the people that do not live in the States and don't know what the Second Amendment is. The Second Amendment is the right to bear arms. Now, this was on the Bill of Rights, which was created in September 2005, 1789, and December 15th, 1791. Now, we're going to look at a few angles on this. Now, the reason why this bill was made is to obviously give everyone who lives and is a citizen of the United States of America certain rights and privileges that aren't available in other countries. So this one, looking at this one specifically, is the right to bear arms. So what this is saying is it says everyone should be able to have a gun to protect themselves, protect their families, yada, yada, yada. However, I agree with this. I believe that every individual person should be able to protect themselves and their loved ones. However, we have to look at time periods here. Everyone says this is why everyone in the States should be allowed to have guns. But if we look at the time period, 1791, this was before World War I, before World War II. The type of guns they had then were basically solely run on black powder, that kind of stuff. They didn't have these machine guns that can shoot, like hundreds of bullets per second? I don't know exact numbers of guns because I'm not really a gun person, but they didn't have these huge, amazing inventions that we have today. In fact, they didn't even have cars. So the whole idea of having guns to protect yourself then, was really important because who else is going to protect you? Now, today, we have police, we have armies, we have all this stuff that is meant to protect us and protect our freedom, and especially in the States, they believe heavily in freedom. They have all these things to protect their freedom that they didn't have back then. They have police, they have people that are summoned by the government to protect you and your family. So, things such as guns are as necessary. Now, people everyone's going to argue that, oh, well, a cop isn't going to be by your side all the time like guns are. Yeah, that's true, but you do have a cell phone at your side most of the time, which is able to call cops. Now, I know if someone has a gun pointed to your head, you're not going to be able to reach for your cell phone and call the cops. I get that. But here is where things get caught up. So if we look at some numbers here, this is where we can see a big difference. So let's look at Canada versus the United States just because they're right beside each other. So, starting off with America, the population of the USA is 311 million, and for Canada, it's 34 million. Now, people are going to say you can't compare the two because of the big differences, but it's okay. We're going to make some ratios here. So, if we look at the total number of homicides by a firearm, in Canada, we have 173 in 2011, and if you look at the USA, there is 9,146. That's a huge difference. However, we're gonna change some numbers here based on population. Since it's a factor of 10, there's about 10 times more people in the States, a bit less than in Canada. We're gonna compensate for this, so we're gonna go ahead and move the decimal place 1 over. So we're gonna say 915 deaths compared to 173. We're just changing this based on numbers here. So that's about 8 times more, a bit less in the States than in Canada. Now, if we look at the amount, let's go average firearms per 100 people. In Canada, we have 30.8. And in America, or USA, we have 88.8. So that's almost a firearm per person. So we can see a correlation between these numbers. Now, if you look at the NRA and people who argue this, they're going to just say that they're going to bring up some other numbers from other countries and whatnot, but these countries are the closest thing to each other. Canada is almost run identically to the USA. No matter who argues that, we pretty much all know it's true. America has a huge influence on Canada. Now, people argue, this video, I'm going to keep talking after this video ends, but people argue that guns are fine. It's how people use them. The crazy people give them a bad reputation. And then they bring up the whole idea that video games don't make people violent. People make people violent. That's true. However, violence is made a lot worse when crazy people are more accessible to things such as guns. And that is the difference. I have no problem with people being able to have guns. My problem is the easy accessibility of weapons in certain places. Even in Canada, in some instances, I find it too easy. But let me know what you guys think about this. If you enjoyed or liked my opinion, go ahead and share it with your friends. I'd love to talk to someone in the States about this if you want to do a dual com. I've listened to Woody's Gamer Takes videos on this, and he has some interesting points. I'd love to have a conversation with him, but I think I'm a bit too small of a channel to talk to him about it. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Please remember to comment, rate, and subscribe. Until next time, guys, peace out.